Haven ist zurück im TV. Exklusiv in deutscher Erstausstrahlung zeigt Syfy ab dem 27. Dezember die 3. Staffel der Mystery-Serie um die Frau ohne Vergangenheit, Audrey Parker. Immer donnerstags ab 20:15 Uhr geht sie mit Nathan und Duke den rätselhaften Geschehnissen im Küstenort Haven auf den Grund. Mehr Mystery, mehr Spannung und mehr Geheimnisse. In Season 3 bringen die übersinnlich begabten Bewohner wieder zahlreiche Probleme mit sich.
I think the most interesting trouble this season was the ability of this girl who could bring the dead back to life, and she used it to blackmail people, and it was a really interesting condition that she created. And basically, she would expedite someone's death and then blackmail them or their family to bring them back to life. And I thought it was in some ways the most Machiavellian trouble that we've had in a while, and I liked that it had a sinister quality, and I think that would have been my favorite.
There was a trouble that I read this season that when I read it at first I was like, oh, I don't know if this is a kind of trouble. But I think we just shot it. It's really kind of funny, this girl. It's not even the trouble, but it's trouble within the trouble world of anything that she eats turns to chocolate cake. And that whole kind of storyline actually was pulled off in a really funny, amusing, tender way. And it was really, really funny to watch.
Well, there have been some really good ones this year, some doozies. But one of my favorites is probably one of the creepiest episodes we've done, the darkest. That would be episode 3 of this season, and that trouble was. Can I talk about it? Yeah. So that guy was an organ stealer through a strange snake-like apparatus that came out of his throat, and he could only steal organs from family members. So that was really gross.
Mit lauter widerlichen und gruseligen neuen sogenannten Flüchen geht Haven in die 3. Runde und bringt nicht nur mit tollen Gaststars frischen Wind ins Küstenstädtchen. Auch die 3 Hauptcharaktere Nathan, Emily und Duke haben sich ganz schön entwickelt.
What was interesting in the first couple of seasons was that although he kept saying he didn't want to help, he kept saying he only cared about himself, he continually sort of did something selfless. He continually, sort of did the right thing, even begrudgingly. I think the interesting this season is that he's really sort of he's taken arms for Audrey and for the possibility of losing her, and I think it's been interesting to see his character really become more of a earnest hero.
And this season I've gotten to explore sides of him that we haven't necessarily seen up until now, and that he may not have known existed. And so that's been really fun.
I think as this season begins, Audrey is stuck with a very unnerving time clock on a situation that gives some really massive weight and depth to the sort of destiny that she's been given. And I think she's a lot more zealous, determined, and a bit, not bitter, she hasn't lost hope, but a bit more tenacious and not bratty, but just fervent and in people's faces about getting the answers. She kind of got that way at the end of season 2. We see her knock the teacup out of, Vince and Dave's hands and be like, tell me what is going on, a very dire need to know. So this year I see her just being a bit harder and a bit, she needs it more desperately versus the curiosity of, oh, what is this place? What is this town? What is this thing? She has moved to much deeper maturity in her need to know what's going on.
Und gerade weil die 3. Staffel in puncto Charakterentwicklung so viel Neues zu bieten hat, haben die 3 Hauptdarsteller natürlich auch eine Lieblingsepisode.
By far, one of my favorite episodes to do this season was episode 309. It's one of the first times we actually get to meet Sarah, one of Lucy's and Audrey's alter egos. from the 1950s. And she's a fiery little redhead. And, you know, different from Lucy, I actually didn't really know anything about Sarah. We'd sort of pieced Lucy together through a bunch of different photos and images. But Sarah actually kind of shows up on the scene in this episode, and there's a lot of scenes with her and dialogue with her. So, again, from an acting standpoint, it was a lot of researching of 1950s films and the way women spoke and the way their grammar was and the kind of where they held their voice and where they were as ladies. It's so different from who Audrey is.
We got to shoot a period piece, basically. And the hair and makeup department, the wardrobe department, the art department, everyone really pulled out all the stops on that episode. It was gorgeous, stunning, had incredible production value.
It made me really proud because our entire crew really stepped up. From the production design, hair and makeup, wardrobe, I mean, just did an incredible job with that stuff, and on no money and almost no budget. It just really was a labor of love in some ways. You know, the show has a theme, and it has a sort of story engine every week that, you know, we have these mysteries and these troubles that we try to solve and these cases, but it felt like everyone was really inspired that week, and so that was neat to see.
3 Staffeln Haven, da muss es doch auch einen Lieblingsmoment für Emily, Lucas und Eric geben, oder?
Shooting the finale is always a lovely experience because you have, you know, some sense that we're almost done, which is not to say that we haven't loved being here, but thinking about what we've accomplished this season, it's pretty wild, and I'm very proud of it. And so yeah, shooting finales is always quite moving and lovely. So I have a long series of moments, which is occurring now.
I could tell that people really fell in love with this person that is Sarah. And so to me, I think there's a moment when I pull Nathan out of the VA hospital. I grab him by the ear and I pull him down the stairs and across the street and kind of give him a stern talking to. And to me, that kind of embodies who Sarah is. And it was a really fun day to shoot. Like, the cars are whizzing past you, and there's, you know, the grandness of this VA hospital, and all of those moments with her, I think, are really imprinted in my mind as something that I feel like I can walk away and be pretty proud of.
I have a favorite moment of the season, but it didn't actually happen on set. My favorite moment of the season was when a bunch of us from the cast and crew went tidal bore rafting in the Bay of Fundy, and it was just a great time, and we all got to hang out and have fun together and go mudsliding, and that was probably, I'll look back and that'll definitely be one of my favorite memories of Season 3.
Schöne Haven-Momente wird der Zuschauer bald schon selber machen können, denn der heiß ersehnte Start der 3. Staffel im deutschen TV ist nur wenige Tage entfernt. Ganz klar, die 3 Hauptdarsteller wissen ganz genau, warum es sich lohnt, reinzuschauen.
Haven Season 3 is one of the best seasons yet because I feel like we're really comfortable in our own skin as a show. And with that, with the audience being comfortable with us and us really knowing our characters and everything, we've been able to stretch it further. We take the mythology of the show this year and really dive into that, and as well as supporting the trouble of the week.
It's the most action-packed season. There's more revealed in this season than has ever been revealed in the previous 2 seasons. And the stakes are just much higher this season. And I just think people are going to be blown away by everything that happens. It's pretty exciting.
Early on, there's a clock that's put on the season, so that sort of raises everyone's cholesterol and blood pressure. And I think, you know, having a timeline to work with just heightens everything.
Übrigens, es darf weiter gerätselt werden. Syfy hat grünes Licht für weitere 13 Folgen der Mystery-Serie Haven gegeben. Die 4. Staffel wird 2013 ausgestrahlt.